Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing BUG Beanstalk. We have a ton of awesome interaction in this deck, and this is a slower burn version of Beanstalk. We have 0 dazes, and our goal is to just build out a crazy mana base so we can start slamming Lorien Revealed, so we can maintain Bowmaster supremacy with Orcish Bowmasters, and so we can get those juicy flying behemoths up in the sky, these Murktide regions. So let's take a look at the mana base. So we are still playing the 3 Wastelands. Also, pardon me for setting it up in this pile structure. MTGO is having a bug where it's having trouble showing the number of cards in a pile for some reason, so I just put it into this view. We still have the 3 Wastelands. We also have the Underground Seas. We have 3 of those and a Trop. And then our second green source is a Hedge Maze, and our third green source is a Bayou, and we barely have any green in the entire deck. We essentially just have these 2 Witherbloom commands. Don't leave home without them. They're very good against Tomio. They're very good against Bowmaster, against opposing Beanstalks, against this new card that's running a little wild. You might have heard of it, Corey Steelcutter. So we are going to be using this to potentially recur fetches or wastes, whatever we need to, and to take out problematic permanents, and to even gain life if we need to. The other green cards are, of course, the 4 up the Beanstalks, and then in the sideboard we've got a Carpet and we've got a Pernicious Deed. But that informs a lot, the fact that we're so light on green. We can really just go focus on getting our black sources and our blue sources. So this deck does not use days, but it does disrupt through other means. This is a big pile removal. We got the 4 forces, of course, but we've also got 2 main deck Nile Spellbombs for graveyard strategies and 3 main deck Thoughtseizes for other stack-based combo, and this is also good at like sniping the One Ring against like Moon Stompy and decks like that. We've got a Brazen Borrower because one thing I've observed is Bug Beans is extremely soft to Leyline of the Void. If they start out with a Leyline of the Void, it's going to be very hard to ever get your Murktides up in the air, and it just slows down a lot of what you want to do. It doesn't, you don't get like the cool recursion effects from Witherbloom or from Mystic Sanctuary, which is a very powerful endgame engine with the Lorien Revealeds. So we want to be able to make it to the long game, and for that purpose we've got a lot of creature kill. We've got 6 creature kill spells plus the Witherblooms, and that's really the main deck. The sideboard has a bunch of really good cards against problematic decks in the meta, such as Moon Stompy. We've got the 3 Hydroblast. These also come in against Delver. We've got the 3 Force Negations. These are for turn 0 combo where you don't even get a turn, where they're trying to win with Oops All Spells or Reanimator before you even get a chance to play out a land. And these are to protect you from their discard effects, so you can stick a Nile Spellbomb. We've got 2 more of these in the graveyard, and once these hit the table, it's very hard for Reanimator or Oops All Spells to win. We have a Baragoyf just as an additional threat. This card is cracked. I'm a total convert to how awesome Baragoyf is. It's very good against Urza Saga matchups. Speaking of Urza Saga, let's blow them out with Pernicious Deed, just destroy all their permanents. And we've also got a Null Rod here for One Ring or for, you know, big Carnforge style decks. And I have an additional island. The deck already plays 19 lands plus 3 Lorien, but it is nice to be able to get this, and then you just have all the colors you need, essentially. Maybe you board out some of the Witherbloom commands, and you just go heavy on your double blue so you can cast your Murktide, so you can cast your late game Lorien. I'm excited about this, and this is a Pokemoki innovation. Pokemoki created kind of the Bug Beans archetype, or at least popularized it, and this is one of the things that he does in his builds. I've got a video where I play a league with Pokemoki. It's pretty awesome, and learn a lot from him, and we're going to be kind of channeling Pokemoki and his kind of ethos of having a lot of one-ofs that you can find in the post-board games, and we're going to just try to get some value. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're facing a likely Bug Beans mirror. Pretty awesome. Let's do it. They've actually been playing 5-color beans or 4-color beans. I think we're favored because of the simplicity of our deck. This is a good option for us to try to ponder for a force, just in case we have to force a Beanstalk. This also gets it under Bowmasters in case they're playing Bowmasters. These cards are more of the same, but Orcish Bowmasters is basically the best thing you can be doing against Beanstalk, so I'm going to keep this. I should not have kept both in hand just in case they have like Cabal Therapy for some reason. So they're likely going to be able to resolve this Beanstalk. Yep, that is what they have. All right, so we're just going to hold open Beanstalk. I don't want to get wasted. I don't really want anything to happen to me here. Scary. I do want to get this now Spellbomb down, but there's no rush. We can play it later. We've got unwastable mana, which is pretty nice. I am going to get in with the Bowmaster's instep, just be mana efficient here. They may have their own, and that's okay. I'll just ping that too. They force, okay, so they are up a card, basically. That's a bummer. I'm going to go ahead and just do this again. And I'm going to do it now because they could totally have a Beanstalk of their own or a Bowmaster of their own, but they probably wouldn't have forced there if they did. And I want to cut off slower cantrips like Ponder. All right, we'll ping them. There's no reason in waiting. Like, they could have like an instep card, but I'm just going to go get this now Spellbomb down now. And the two main deck now Spellbombs are pretty good in the mirror. They're Island Cycling. And it'll be a real bummer if they can clear this Bowmasters, but we're unfavored, frankly, from this position because they got their Beanstalk out first. Okay, they're passing. That's good for us. They could have Endurance. All right, so options. If they Endurance, I can let it resolve and then I can Edict. And I'll, worst case scenario, I could now Spellbomb and also push so I don't lose my dudes. The other option is just to hang back and not attack with the Bowmaster. I'm going to go ahead and attack. We have lots of interaction if they do Endurance here. Okay, they're fetching. Okay, here comes Endurance. It's crazy how I'm able to call all their plays beforehand. This comes with experience, but I'm like 2 for 2 for calling different things they're going to do. This is okay. So we're going to let them tuck our graveyard first. They're tucking their own deck? Why? Okay. I don't think that's correct. Now I'm going to go ahead and just Edict them. I could push, but I'd rather not use my now Spellbomb for no reason. Yeah, I really question the logic behind hitting themselves with that. Unless I'm missing something. I think it's fine to just go ahead and Ponder now. We're filling up the graveyard. Gosh, that force. I think we need that force. Thoughtseize will be good next turn. So I'll hold the force. Draw the Thoughtseize, and then if the coast is clear, we can Merc next turn. Yeah, we can Merc next turn after the Thoughtseize. Turn in the screws before they can break free. I will force pitching Borrower here if they attempt to remove my Bowmaster. That's a binding. I do think this is a force. We could let it resolve. It's going to hit the Bowmaster, and then we could just get another ping and grow our army further. Make them recast it, but recasting it does give them another card trigger. I think it's cleanest just to try to force it. And again, I want to emphasize, this sucks. I do not want to be, like doing this with a freaking Beanstalk out, but I don't really have a choice, unfortunately. This is just how it is. The person who gets the first Beanstalk on the table is incredibly favored. And they were on the play here, so yeah, we get another ping. So our dude is getting pretty big. We might be able to aggro them. They should take the Beanstalk, the actual Bowmaster, and they do. They've tapped out of Bowmaster themselves if they're playing it, which I imagine they are. Gosh, the hits just keep coming, don't they? All right, let's maintain composure. Our opponent is getting the cards they need for sure, but they are drawing a lot of cards because once you get the first one, it really snowballs. Let's go and do this. Okay, they have another Leyline Binding. They have a 4th Aerolingus. I think we just have to let them have 4th Aerolingus and beat them down. They are going to be able to double draw trigger off 4th Aerolingus. How messed up is that? And they have a Brainstorm, which is a very good card. So let's think about it. If we let them have 4th Aerolingus, that doesn't necessarily answer our Murktide. I mean, it sucks, but I think we need to do it. We're about to put a giant Murktide on the table, and hopefully that'll be enough. I think we just need to beat aggro here. They're already so far ahead. So we'll go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, making a full-size Murktide. They're not dead on board, but they're getting close. Like, actually, they are dead on board. So they can 4th and draw a bunch of cards, but they won't have any mana. So if they want to 4th and still have the ability to plow, they need to hold up mana. They could, they don't have any plows in exile, so they could find a plow here. Play their land for turn. That was known. Okay, Xander's Lounge. Just trying to find a Leyline Binding. They've used 2, or they've yeah. Whoa, we won. I did not expect that, but name of the game is keep pressure on them. Once you realize that you're the beatdown, just beat them down. That's what we did. Postboard, Harbinger comes in. I mean, if there's ever a greedy mana base that you want to punish, it's this one. Hydroblast, I think, is okay. I don't think it's exceptional. Carpet's probably worth playing. I mean, it can be a dead draw late game. I actually think that Nihilus Bubble is probably fine. Let's take a look at their list. If this is a little bit, this is from like, this is from a long time ago. Yeah, I'm going to keep the Spell Bombs in and the Harbingers. I think we can cut the Fatal Pushes completely. It's possible they're playing Bowmasters, but we do have Witherbloom, and we still have plenty of other removal for it. I'm going to leave the Thoughtseizes in. I don't have Dazes to cut. That is one downside. Is when you don't have Daze, you can't cut Daze. It seems weird to not bring in a Carpet, but I genuinely am not sure that it's correct to bring it in. Like every single like interaction card we have matters, and drawing like basically a brick late game is, yeah, this is not fun to draw late game. I think it's quite likely they bring in their own Carpet. Maybe we don't need all 4 of those. I'll just go down to 3. It's not like they help us with like Baragoyf size or anything. They do help, well, Baragoyf, but we're not bringing in Baragoyf. This is a snap keep, in my opinion. We force the first Beanstalk, and then we just fetch a Swamp, fetch it, and then, yeah, try to get there. I'd be surprised if they're playing Wasteland. They mold to 6, mold to 5, and we're on the draw, so we're going to outcard them for sure. Brainstorm. That's probably just going to get pitched to force. Now we have double force. We just need to stick the Harbinger. I want them to fetch their lands first. We didn't waste them or anything last game, so they may just, yeah, do that. That's fine. Don't have the Beanstalk. All right, good. So I could go ahead and just get the Surveil. And then I'm going to go get a Swamp. Is that right? Yeah, because I do need a land. I'll just Surveil here. That's a good card for sure, but I just want to land. It feels bad to put that in the yard, but I think it's correct. We've already got plenty of selection, and we don't really need anything other than a land. Okay, we get the land. That's great. So let's play this out. We'll just chill. Now if they want to like Spell Pierce or something, we can answer it. So again, my plan is to go all in on this Harbinger. I think it'll really screw them. Tundra, okay. And then, yeah, we just stick the Harbinger and we have double force up. I am kind of tempted to just put this Shieldred's Edict away and see if I can find another blue card. I'll be really embarrassed if I don't have a blue card in the top 3. They do technically have Bowmaster. Yeah, I think I just wait. Once I've locked it down, I don't need to worry about it anymore. Okay, there we go. All right, so if they have Daze, it'll be embarrassing. But this is the hill I fight on and a die on. Swamp. Blue. Do you have double interaction? Pyro. Let's force. I will pitch a Ponder here because Merc might come down and close. I'm actually cool with just pitching a Brainstorm. Okay, we did it. Harbinger is a very good card. See you in round 2. Round 2, another control mirror. We're up against a likely Standstill player, which I relish. I love Standstill. It's a challenging deck to play. I do think we need to mulligan this. This doesn't do anything against Standstill, really. I'd like to have more lands. This has more lands. This also has a Beanstalk. It's slow. I think this is worth keeping. I'm going to put this on the bottom, and I'm going to hope they're not a Wasteland version, because I basically just had to float this out here. It's pretty pathetic. And if they waste, we just sit there. I don't want to mulligan any deeper, though. Okay, they flooded Strand. Pass. That's good for us. This is not a Wasteland. All right, we're going to go off of Force of Will for a moment to see if we can find a land. I am going to shuffle this. I'm looking specifically for a land. Waiting another turn for a Ponder is risky. Okay, Murder's Cut, not a great card. We have literally no interaction. If they just stand still now, the game will probably be over. Okay, they flooded Strand. Island. Lorien Revealed. Second Island. They now have Counterspell up, which is a card that some Mad Lad players play. We do literally nothing here. This is embarrassing. This is the downside of playing 3 wastelands in our deck. The upside is we do have game against a lot of land strategies where we wouldn't otherwise. So I'll just pass. Yeah, this is definitely an embarrassing predicament to be in, but I don't think that the original keep was that solid. Maybe we should have mulled to 5. Plains, okay. So they're on a lot of basics. They could be on just straight Jeskai Control. Oh my goodness, come on deck. Well, I don't concede even in dire situations like this where our opponent is just chilling, making their land drops and we're not. Okay, so we're learning. I mean, this could be that they're on some sort of dress down strategy like Stifle Knot. Back to basics. That is pretty annoying. We do have basics in our deck, but yeah, that's going to be rough. I'm going to definitely bring in the other basic island here now that I've seen that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go get a swamp and I'm going to Thoughtseize them. And then we should be able to hopefully get the interaction out of their hands. If they have like a ton of interaction, oh gosh, this. While they do have a counterspell, they have a Narset, which is pretty terrifying. I think we just have to take the Narset. Days Undoing actually sucks. Like their combo is terrible, in my opinion. I know it like won Eternal Week in Europe. Like some guy had Days Undoing Narset combo, but it's win more. If the Narset resolves, the game's over anyway. So yeah, the game's over. We could, let's see, their hand is counterspell. So they did have it. They had the second Narset, just naturally ripped after we hit their hand. Nothing we can do about it. I think what we do here is we try, like Bowmaster unfortunately won't do anything here. The the turn ends with the Bowmaster triggers on the stack. So we do need to get a force effect to counter that. And if they find another land, yeah, they're getting so much value here. Let's see what they reveal. So they seem to be on like a Jeskai Control list or just like straight up blue-white. I haven't seen any indication they're doing anything but it's just straight blue-white. They found a Lorien Revealed, which they can use to make a land drop if they haven't made a land drop this turn. Yeah, I don't think they've made a land drop yet. So they can get a land drop and then they have Force of Will, or they have a counterspell in addition to Days Undoing. So we're not even going to be able to stop the Days Undoing with a force. The good news is we have a lot of cards that are going to be boarded out here. So I'm going to see if they use the Narset before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to Bowmaster and see whether they respond to that. And if they do, counterspell this, then I can force their Days Undoing. So I'm just doing my best. Like this game is super lost. Now they can minus. Oh, they had a force too. Okay, well we lose. Yeah, they found everything they needed. That Force of Will off the top, that was pretty good luck, frankly. And again, I'm not going to complain about the variance. Don't think I'm salty. It's unlikely that they would, rip that force. I guess they hadn't seen a force yet. But I don't think like we screwed up by planning around. My goal was to use the Bowmaster as bait for the counterspell, and it worked, but they had the force. Sideboard. Think of the pushes. I like to bring in basically as many threats as I can against control decks. Harbinger is not worthy, even though it's a threat. I think these force negations are candidates. I think we take out the cuts and we just leave the Shieldred's Edict. I'm going to definitely bring in an island here. We can take out a wasteland, so we're not going to flood. Hopefully not. Witherbloom Command didn't seem to do anything there, which is unfortunate. It's tempting to take that out, but they could be playing Tamio, and maybe we just didn't see a Tamio. I think Carpet could come in, just in case they do back to basics us. It would be nice to have access to that mana. I am tempted to take these Witherblooms out. Like I'm not convinced they're good. But what do we bring in? We didn't see any indication they had red, so I don't think Hydroblast is correct. I think we just run it like this and just leave the Witherblooms in for... Oh no, I need to take the Spell Bombs out probably. Yeah, I mean, we just have too many cards to cut against this deck. So this is not a good hand, but we get this into the graveyard and it does help the Baragorth later. This is a Beanstalk hand. It's just missing a land. I saw at least 2 back to basics. I'm not sure if we can keep this. I think I'm going to keep, and then I can brainstorm and find a land, and hopefully the brainstorm resolves. It does suck like that we have so many basics in the deck, and yet we're having to start with a non-basic. If Beanstalk resolves, that's how we pull ahead. Break parity. They're probably like, why is this in your deck? That's what I would say if somebody cast an Spell Bomb and I was on Jeskai Control. Prismatic Vista. Yeah, I mean, we just didn't have enough cards to sub out. There's a Ponder. They're already getting their basic mana base in place while we struggle. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, there's a serious chance that we whiff, but I'm not going to take it. Like, we have Lorien Reveal. We've got so many things we're drawn to here. Come on, deck. Okay, that works. So I can put back the Shieldred's Edict. I'm kind of tempted to put back Barrier for now because Orcish Bowmasters is so much better. Yeah, and I'm not going to put back either the Bowmasters. I'll play this out. In the end step, I can just get a Swamp and hit their graveyard. But just in case, like, I don't think they're playing Daze or anything, it just preserves some mystery. They are getting a lot of cantrips off before our Bowmasters makes their debut, which is nice for them. I am going to go ahead and get the Swamp here because I have lots of ways of getting islands. I only have a few ways of getting a Swamp. And I'm just going to draw through this. They're interacting. Interesting. They just want to give me another card in their graveyard? Oh, I don't know. If they're worried maybe if they shuffled it back in, then, yeah. They don't want those. Okay, wow. We're getting a lot of lands. So we have two options. One is we just go ahead and cast the Beanstalk, and it's probably just going to get forced. And I don't even really care that much. I think the Bowmaster is much more important. So I'm going to go get a basic island here. No. We could just chill. No, I want to get the force out. I'm going to have the force fight now. And then if they do, stick... so let's get the Trop here. We'll go green, black. And this way we're intentionally not tapping this just in case they have Back to Basics. Back to Basics is really informing a lot of my decisions throughout this entire game because I believe that's one of the strongest cards in the deck against us. Okay, this is great. Rip a Force Negation too. Not bad. Lorien Revealed. Narset is going to get forced. I will pitch the Force Negation here. Draw trigger. Okay, they're forcing back. So we do get a draw trigger. If we find a blue card, we can force again. We find a blue card. Freaking awesome. All right, would you like to force a second time? That is a card that we have to stop. Okay. Their card that went into exile is a Spell Pierce. So that's very lucky for us that they got greedy, frankly, and went for it. They should have waited, in my opinion, but they didn't know that we had double force. They had one force. Okay, Witherbloom doesn't do anything here other than get us a land, dig deeper into our deck. I think it's worth doing. Just, I mean, are we ever going to have a better target? Not necessarily. We could just chill with double Bowmaster up. I think that's also a fine strategy. Because we have the Swamp, we're not going to be able to get the Mystic Sanctuary. So I'm just going to chill with double Bowmaster up. Who knows? Maybe they put something in play that we can target with Witherbloom. We can always use it next turn to get a land drop. Fourth Air Lingus is fine. Yeah, I'm going to let it resolve. Let's think about this. So I do actually want to take this. I want to let them have the Monarch. But I think, do I want to go ahead and kill one of these? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ping here. And then I'm going to block it. Take 3. Then so they get the Monarch. And then at the end of the turn, when the Monarch trigger goes on the stack, I'm just going to kill their other one too. This is why you don't play the Monarch against Bowmasters. Good game. Okay. That was pretty awesome. So let's see if we can repeat. My current theory on control mirrors is that Bowmasters is like the only thing that matters. And that game kind of like showed that. Like, I mean, obviously the Beanstalk resolving and us getting 2 extra cards was substantial too, but like they didn't even see our third Bowmasters. So now Spellbomb comes out. I think it's just too weak. We could bring in Deed. I just don't like it. Fundamentally, I just don't think it's good enough. We did get some rough hands where we were like, damn, I wish we had more mana. We could bring in a cut. They could juke into like Triumph or something. Killing a token and drawing us cards is not the worst. Yeah, I think it's fine to just bring in 2 cuts here in place of those spell bombs. It's hard to know what to do because there's just so many dead cards in our deck. I mean, it might be right to just bring in the Harbinger just as a blue card to pitch the force. We've got 23 though. I think it's fine. This hand's a keeper for sure. It's got a Bowmaster in it. That's like the most important criteria. The fact that it has a force is also nice. Island. Ponder. All right, that force is tasty. So I'll pass. I definitely want to be able to get a swamp here. Again, we have 6 green cards in our entire deck. 7, I guess. Yeah, I think it's important to just get the basic swamp here. Thoughtseize is great. Tempted to fire it off. They could have a Spell Pierce in hand, which is fine. I'm going to play this land out. And I don't have anything to put back with Brainstorm. Brainstorm's actually not very good at this point in the game. I think I'm just going to go ahead and Thoughtseize and see if I can get them to do an inopportune... yeah, and I'm tapping like this just because I don't want them to tap this down permanently. If we can do a force fight. Brainstorm, sure. Yeah, inopportune Brainstorm is what I wanted them to do. So it's about the best I can hope for. Probably get some card out of there. It's hard to hide like all your best cards. Okay, so we get a sneak peek of what's coming at the very least. So Lorien revealed Supreme Verdict is actually kind of annoying. I think we take that. Yeah, I'm going to take that. And they have 4th, potentially. If they want to do like a mini 4th. They have a Pyroblast, but that does require them to hold up mana. So now that we know that they're on red, like we didn't see... Wait, we did see 4th. I should have brought in the Hydroblasts. That was a punt. Sorry, my excellent friends. Okay, Prismatic Vista. They're still, fetching these like they have. Back to basics on top. So they did tap out for this. So I think this is a force negation. Pitching Brainstorm. I don't care about Brainstorm anyway. It's not going to be... Yeah. If that had resolved, Brainstorm would have been a dead card anyway, so... Alright. Let's see if we can rip a land. Beanstalk. I wish I could do something with that. Alright, well, they're most likely going to be able to successfully fourth the here. I could cut one of the tokens. I need a green source. Like, the fact that they've got this pincer attack where they've got me kind of like worried about, non-basics has caused me to color screw myself. And I can almost guarantee that they still have 2 of them in their deck. Like, okay, wow. So they opted to play that out instead of playing the Tundra. I think that's a mistake. They're just protecting this from Wasteland, I guess. They have seen Wasteland, even though we haven't done anything with it. All right, so I am going to go ahead and just take this opportunity to just put the Bowmasters out there. And we'll start attacking them. So the fact that this came out early is actually a huge reprieve for us, because now we know they can't put this back on top. I bet you they only have 1. They might have a second one. Sparrow. This is extremely good against them if it sticks. The fact that they have Red Blast as their interaction is very fortuitous. And we know their exact hand. Okay, so let's come in for an attack. They can't Lorien with this Bowmaster out. I mean, not comfortably. Okay, there's the Tundra. They're going for the big one. This is okay. I think this is desperate because I'm going to gain lots of life when you attack in. They're just not attacking. They're just using it as a jumper. All right, so we're in a very strong position here. We know the exact wait, we don't know the exact contents of their hand. They have 1 unknown. It could be a force. So we could attack and then, let's see, they have sorcery, instant land over there. So this will be 3/4 even if we gobble up our graveyard. So we'll kill all their tokens. They'll kill the Beargoyf. Is that a good trade? We gain 3 life. That doesn't really matter. If we just chill for a turn, we might be able to get this bigger. And we have cut and Bowmaster up. I am worried that they have another Supreme Verdict in their deck. I do want to waste them off white. So if they triple block, can I assign 1 damage to each one? Is that how it works? I can't remember. I'm just worried about a sweeper. Yeah, if we wait, it'll get stronger. And we have the option of Bowmastering here. Now they need a removal spell and a white mana. They couldn't Lorien and go get a white mana though. I think that's probably what they're going to do. But they would need double white for Supreme Verdict if they have a second one. Okay, they're casting back to basics here. That's fine. I'm tempted to just go ahead and cut now. It doesn't change the size of Beargoyf. And because our mana is going to be locked down, it makes sense to do so. Witherbloom. Oh, Still 3/4. Unfortunately, yeah, there's just no way we can attack into that. I don't want this to permanently be tapped. Let's see, their hand is Lorien revealed. They are stubbornly refusing to cycle this. I don't know why. I think we just wait one more turn. If we clear this, we clear both of those, then we can start doing a lot of damage with Bowmasters. Gosh, it's hard to know. If they don't have a sweeper, we're going to be rolling through and doing a lot of damage. Let's see, we're going to hit them for 2 plus pinging them this turn with the army. Then they're at 13 and we're hitting them for 4 the subsequent turn. I think there's risk in waiting. I'm going to go ahead and go in. And leave a comment with a timestamp if you think this is a misplay. Interesting. Well, I am going to go ahead and just Bowmaster here because I want to take one of these out. Is that right? Could just let it go and gain 3 life and mill ourselves, potentially increasing the power for subsequent Baraglyphs, holding up Bowmaster for a potential surprise later. I think it's right to just go all in. That's my instinct. Yep, and now we can kill one of those. Flip 3 cards. We find Murktide, which we can't cast, but it is force fodder. Yeah, so it's force fodder. That's about the best we can hope for. And they do have a Pyroblast in hand. They're going to cycle. There's the Tundra. Do you have a plow now? Okay. If they have a plow, they're scared of putting it permanent tapped. Another Merc. I'm going to come in for a hug with just this one, I guess. They could do Snapcaster shenanigans. They're just letting me hit. Okay, that's good for me. I'll take another Murktide. Sure, I've got a bunch of Murktides in my hand. Nothing to do with them. Let's pass. If I find a Witherbloom command, I will be looking forward to draining them at this point. Okay, so they have Supreme Verdict mana now. Are they just going to let me keep hitting them? I probably should have left that Merc in there because then I would have more attack power here. Yeah, I think that was a punt. I actually should have left that Merc in there. All right, well, I'm just going to come in one more time. Since they have the Pyroblast, we need to make sure they're tapped out of red before we do anything. So we will mill. I wanted that back, but I think it's correct to leave it. I'm going to just leave it. We don't have the mana to cast it. Next turn, we basically just attack all. I don't know what their game plan is here. That's great. So I think the simple thing to do is just attack all and then Witherbloom, unless they have like some instant speed kill all our board. It's scary because that does involve us grabbing the green source, which is going to permanently remain tapped, but we do get a land back. Yeah, I'll attack all. It's a force block. Okay, they take that. Now, I'm going to Witherbloom them. I'll mill myself and I'll drain them. My heart is beating fast. I am very excited to see what happens here. They are fetching to 2. Okay. There's the white mana. They have some miraculous life gain spell. Okay, so we don't kill them with this. I'm going to accept that. They have the red mana up. I don't want to give them the force target. We did get them to tap a land. We're tapped out again. Again, I'm going to wait, and there might be some desperate situation where they do tap the red. They scoop. Wow, that was freaking... The theme from both of these games is just knowing when to go beat down. And I think we went beat down and we're like, okay, if they have it, they have it, but we have to keep trying. 29 life to end too. It's nice. That's a lot of insulation. See you in round 3. Round 3, we're up against an unknown opponent, but we do have a Thoughtseize hand. I think I'm going to go Swamp Thoughtseize here. Just out of respect for potential Wasteland. And because we have another Thoughtseize waiting in the wings here. We won't have access to Brainstorm, but we have access to everything else. Swamp. Show me your secrets. Okay. They're on Mono Black Helm. Very cool deck. Very scary for fair decks like ours. They do have the Douthie Woodwalker and the Helm. They don't have a Dark Ritual. What does this Dead Marshes do? Oh, it's just Herborg. Okay. It's confusing that they do this. I wish they wouldn't do this. Take the Douthie here, and then next turn we just take the Karn and leave them with a pretty non-functional hand. We can even waste. Yeah, they've got... I'm going to waste one of their lands too. The reason they're playing Vaults of the Whispers, by the way, is because they are a Beseech the Mirror deck, and they're going to try to beseech later. Okay, Vault. There's not much merit in playing out. Oh, that's freaking good. Yeah, we could... I think I'm just going to do that next turn. I do want to waste... They could have Urza's Saga. I think it's fine to just restrict their mobility here. I should have Thoughtseize first. That was actually loose because it could be that like they did have Urza's Saga like for next turn, and I'll be definitely feeling dumb if they have Urza's Saga here. Okay, just a Chrome Mox. Here we take the Karn. All right. Karn is a good card for sure. It's not great against our deck, but it can go get like cards that are very difficult for us to beat. The second will Vault. Okay. Beanstalk is good to know about. There's this small possibility that they have, what's his name? The Oppo agent, but they don't have Dark Ritual. I'm going to go ahead and get a Trop here so we have all three colors. I don't think they're going to waste us here. Hopefully they won't. And then I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way. We're going to cycle through this. So the scariest thing they could do would be like, actually nothing is super scary from here. That's an unknown card. Douthy's fine because I have the Fatal Push. I'm not going to risk, like it's easy to be greedy and say like, oh, I'll just Beanstalk and then I'll find a land and then I'll do it. I think I just want to do it. I mean, I could Brainstorm and then maybe find a land, but then yeah, I guess it's fine. Putting the Brainstorm in the Void is not a big deal. If I find a land, it's totally, well, we won't be able to push anyway. I'm just going to push and pass. Well, I do want to find a land. Yeah, I'll push first and then I'll Brainstorm. Sorry, I'm like thinking so hard about every little decision. But I want all my cards in my graveyard. I don't want them in the Void. Okay, and we will go ahead and Brainstorm around Bowmasters. Okay, perfect. We found a land. I don't really think... I think I'm just going to Beanstalk over and over. I know it's weird, but it's like so good. If the game goes long, we're not going to run out of cards. They're drawing one card a turn, and we're going to be like forcing and doing other stuff. It'll be pretty awesome. City of Traders. They can get the Helm out, but they don't have the combo yet that we know of. There's the Helm that we... Okay, that's fine. And they can eventually get like, you know, a Murktide or a Bowmaster or something off this. I'm just going to hold this land. So we know our top card is a Brainstorm, which is not a bad card, but I think what I want to do is with the draw trigger on the stack, I'm going to go ahead and fetch. Because I would love to stick another Bowmasters here, or another Beanstalk if the opportunity presents itself by you, I guess, to maximize the likelihood that I can do that. And then worst case scenario, I can just crack the non-spell bomb to draw a card. Let's see what we draw. All right, I'm going to draw a card here. I can maybe get a land drop. All right, we didn't get a land drop this turn. So this is the clinch where like they could find a Leyline of the Void or a Douthy and we die. There's nothing I can do about that. They have no card selection. They're probably drawing, you know, Chrome Moxes and lands and stuff like that. But if they draw one of those, I think like 6 remaining cards in their deck, they win. Thoughtseize is fine. They take one of our Beanstalks, which means they're not about to win the game. Because in terms of Shadowspear, yeah. So this is definitely a Urza Saga deck. Otherwise, they wouldn't have that card in their deck. Force of Will. Great rip. Let's go ahead and go green. I'll keep the blue up so I can ponder. Let's Beans first. Okay, Brainstorm. I can just guaranteed get a land rather than pondering. Yeah, let's go get an island. Let's get an Underground Sea. Then I can ponder for a win con here. These cards are fine. Yeah, I think Fatal Push is totally reasonable to float on top. I don't really care about the land at this point. There's a decent chance that I get to just... Oh, I should have floated down on top. I said I was going to float it on top. Sorry, my excellent friends. I just misclicked. It was not a misclick. It was a brain fart. And that term is absolutely adorable, even though it's disgusting. No plays. Continuing to be unpunished for my punts. Okay, so there's a chance that they have a borrower or a Bowmaster. Speaking of brain farts, let's go ahead and ponder here. Well, we know that we need one of the cards on top. This is pretty fantastic. So even if they freaking Helm us, we can just bounce it out of, well, we can bounce the thing out of play. And the Helm will whiff. We can even put back cards with the presumption that they're probably going to Helm us because they've got nothing better to do. We're not quite up to Mystic Sanctuary mana yet. Yeah, I think we just put these back. Ponder again. Just, like, again, looking for Merc to close the door. We'll shuffle this. There's a Bowmaster. It's not the worst. It's too slow. I just want a Merc so I can win. Thoughtseize. Yeah, don't mind if I do. Okay, they just have the Fell of the Profanes. That's fine. And they have a Chromox and a Fell of the Profane. They can't Thoughtseize us to take us off force. We have 4 freaking Murktides. We're going to find one, and then we'll use that to close the game. Bowmasters, I do care. Double Beanstalk trigger. Murder's Cut. Okay, there's the Merc. Right, so I think the game is going to be over pretty quickly once we start. They do have Fell of the Profane, but we'll get 2 cards, and we'll probably find a force. Let's go ahead and do it. When I said probably find a force, I meant probably find a blue card. I'm actually going to leave the force in the yard. That should be a full size. There's a Bowmaster. We don't actually have force up anymore, so they freaking draw Leyline of the Void. Oh, I should have wasted them. Yeah, that's such a punt. I'm sorry, my excellent friends. Like, I just totally punted there. I can always cut my own creature and potentially draw a blue card, but it's embarrassing that I didn't think to wasteland them. Yeah, we'll pass. Yeah, this is the Leyline. Gosh, I'm such a bad player. Oh, this is just the Fell of the Profane. I think we actually just let that happen. I'm just going to go ahead and Bowmaster here, get the beats going, and then I can fetch. And then next time we can put a force on. Murktide is just what the Doctor ordered. Help us close this game. I do think we take them off the City of Traders just to reduce their land in case they do find blue. Double draw trigger, another wasteland, another force. All right, we'll just attack, and we got them on a 2-turn clock. Nothing to worry about now since they're drawing 1 card. The game's over, I think. It's just a matter of like swinging in twice. They concede. All right, sideboard. We don't actually have that many cards for this matchup. I do think With the Bloom's pretty good here. Barragoyf is quite good against Urza Saga strategies. No Rod is probably actually worth bringing in, considering that they have those things. I think the Spell Bombs are bad, and I'm going to take those out anyway because of No Rod. Pernicious Deed's pretty decent because they're playing Artifact lands. Yeah, like the fact that they're playing Artifact lands makes me all the more excited about playing No Rod here. I think I'm going to cut a Thoughtseize just because we're on the draw, and they are an aggro deck. I'm not going to cut any of my creature removal. This hand is okay. It's not exceptional. Like, Beanstalk is obviously good, but the sad reality is if they have a Bowmasters, we don't have any counterplay. Like, I don't want to mull this. Especially knowing we have, like, No Rod and stuff that we're drawing to. Boom. Yeah, this is a keep. Murder's Cut can go on the bottom. It may be a few turns before we can use that. Leyline of the Void. Not the end of the world because we have Brazen Borrower, but it is pretty rough. It could be a one-ring deck. Oh man, I'm going to be so bummed if they have a wasteland. I think I need a Ponder here. Probably just tuck a blue card in my hand if I can. There we go. That is not good enough. Barragoyf is one of our win cons. I think we take the Bayou. We float the Barragoyf on top. Yeah. Right, so we don't have force up, unfortunately. Like, if they just explosively have the win con, we lose. Actually, we don't lose because we can No Rod before they can use it, unless they also have like a Dark Ritual or a Mox. They would need a very explosive Helm hand. Bowmasters is fine. Sadly, I'm going to need to spend a turn putting this No Rod down before I do anything else. Just because I am dead straight up to that card, but I'm not dead to these. Like, I can answer them for sure. Hopefully that turns off, a decent chunk of their deck. If they have Karn in their deck, they can do the trick where you animate the Null Rod and then push it. But black generally doesn't have answers to artifacts. Dark Ritual. Okay, what is this? Is this a Shieldred? That would be terrifying. That is a Shieldred. Okay, we're going to have to... we have a fetch on top so we can push her. We are going to take some damage though. So we can push and we can Shieldred's Edict. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to just go get another Underground Sea. I don't think basic lands matter here. And then, do we want to wait and Shieldred's Edict next turn? We can wait until they have something on the stack. I love how Null Rod Activated abilities cannot be activated. Even that doesn't, it's like the same text twice, basically. Never change MTGO. All right, we are going to go ahead and just kill this thing. Non-token creature. And if they have another one, it sucks. We'll take one. Just stem the bleeding a little bit. All right, now we have Bargoyf. Blue card would be great for force. Okay, so I think Bargoyf. And we can go get a Surveillant. They do have the thing up, so I'm going to wait until they tap out of Oppo Agent before I attempt to go. This is pretty tiny. Like, I don't think I block this Orc Army if they attack, because that could mean they have a Bowmaster and they're going to like ping it and block it. Like, they could block it, or yeah, Ochre Chrome Mox. That doesn't tap. You know that, right? Okay. Dark Ritual. Are they doing some sort of storm thing? Oh, they're going to beseech. They have one black floating. I think this is probably the safest time I have to just go ahead and fetch. I think they're probably going to go get some card. They're probably just going to kill our Bargoyf, is what I imagine. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and use this opportunity to fetch and surveil, because they don't have black floating, so they can't Dark Ritual. Yeah, you just have to be cognizant of all those little angles that they can do. Like, this game is ours. We just don't want to throw it. I'm going to keep that on top, because that represents blue card for force next turn. So they did bargain, so they can cast something here. Is it another Shieldred? That would be terrifying. This is going to be, once that sorcery goes to the yard, this will be a 4/5. It'll be as big as Shieldred. And I will attack with it, and if they choose not to block it, I will deal with that. It is Shieldred. Okay. I'm really good at predicting my opponent's plays, aren't I? It's a 4/5. Okay. They're going to gain, we're going to lose some life when they attack. Because we draw Ponder. We lose 2 life. They may not block. We win the race if they don't block. Okay, they're not going to block. I'm not going to mill. I would like to put the Beanstalk out, but it does cost me 2 life. I think it's probably worth it. Because if I find like a Fatal Push or a Shieldred's Edict or a Murderous Cut or something like that, actually Murderous Cut's bad. There's no harm other than losing the 2 life to just going out and playing this. I'm going to do it. I'm not worried about them tempoing me out. Maybe I should be. So now we have a chump blocker. And we're going to be able to pull ahead life-wise. So they gain 2 life. That's fine. Urza Saga. They have to pay life to... Wait, no, they can tap it with Urborg. I would love for them to just attack both and for me to get another Bargoyf crack uninterrupted. When this Urza Saga goes to the guard, it is going to buff our Bargoyf too. What is this? Leyline of the Void? Sure. That doesn't change anything. Okay, so this doesn't have lifelink or anything. Okay, we take a hit from Shieldred. I think we just want to swing in and use Bowmaster as a chump for a turn. Let's think about this. We don't want to cast this Thoughtseize because we're low on life, and we don't suspect their last card is meaningful. They're going to start stamping out constructs, but they're going to be pretty small. I think we just keep attacking and gaining life and chumping until we draw something. I don't really want to ponder just because it does hurt us, but we could very well ponder into something good. We could also take the best card and mill the rest. I think I am going to ponder here. I'm not worried about what's coming out of their deck here. Okay, this Fatal Push is pretty awesome. So what we can do is we can just cast it next turn. So I'm going to take the Fatal Push. I'm going to mill the rest. I would like the Bowmaster, but I think if I mill it, I think it gets milled into exile. We'll see. I am going to attempt to mill though. But I'm definitely taking this Fatal Push. So we get an ouchie here. Let's attack. If we get to put the Bowmaster in our hand, that'll be so insane. But I don't think that's how it works. Holy cow, it lets us do that? That's so freaking powerful. Holy cow, we got the card? Bargoyf is awesome. Okay, so now we just chomp and then we can push. And then it should be hard for them to catch up. And again, I'll tell you, I don't think Shieldred's a good card. The reason it's not a good card is because Fatal Push. Fatal Push does not care that it's a legendary, Death Touch, like blah, 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 blah. Fatal Push just reads, get rid of whatever costs 4 or less. So same argument against Oculus. I do think Bargoyf is good enough because it's only 3 mana and it doesn't have any other additional costs to playing it. But I don't think Shieldred or Oculus are particularly strong for those reasons. Since everybody's in black because Bowmasters is everywhere and you want to have Bowmasters for their Bowmasters, if you're playing fair, then that means that everybody's using Fatal Push as the removal. So you probably want things like Murktide that don't completely get, owned by Fatal Push. My opponent just put 5 mana in their mana pool. They may be bargaining away this ley line. Okay, we'll see what they get here. So, Goyf did get bigger. If they can kill Goyf, they actually have a reasonable shot because we just have to beat them down with Bowmasters, basically. But that is a possibility. They are pretty low in life. Also, if they do make a construct next turn, I can just ping it. And because they'll only have 1 artifact. Fell the Profane. Okay, that's a high price to kill that. So again, I am going to block here just to maximize the chances of killing it. Because this turns on Revolt for Fatal Push. Oh, wait, yeah, it's leaves play. I was like, Descend doesn't work in this situation. So now we're free of that. And I'm just going to wait on the Bowmaster. Oh wait, I can just waste it. Maybe I want to waste the... And then when they go to tap this to make mana, yeah. I could have also held up Force. All right. They are choosing to make a construct here. That is fine. So when that construct comes in, it is a 1/1. I'm going to Bowmaster it. Now they can search for something like a Shadow Sphere, but they won't have a creature to equip it to, most likely. Yep, they scoop. All right, that's clean. Yeah, this deck is freaking awesome. I think the 4 Bowmasters is like a big innovation. Like the original Pokemoki list back in 2023 had 4 Bowmasters, 4 Murktides as his threat suite. And instead of going to Tamio, we're going back to Bowmasters just because Bowmasters supremacy is everything. So we're 3-0. I'll see you in the final 2 rounds. And I'm actually going to hopefully be talking at my normal voice because I'm going to record those in the morning. Cheers. Round 4, back to my normal inside voice. Opponent is a likely combo gamer. I'm just hoping they're not on the creative technique deck. I'm not a fan of that deck. This Fury, okay, this looks like Moon Stompy. Chalice for 1 does shut down my Thought Seizes. Kind of crazy to do this. We do have Witherbloom in command, but I kind of do want to just Thought Seize them 2 turns in a row. I've got a path to a basic island here, and I do have a lot of 1-drops. Let's take a look at just how many 1-drops we have. 16. I mean, that's enough to not want to have to deal with Chalice. We've got 2 in hand. So I'm just trying to justify that decision, but it wasn't an easy decision. All right, so unfortunately, we do have to take a Blood Moon effect here. So they have another Chalice. I'm not going to worry about Sundering Eruption. Their hand does functionally nothing, but that doesn't mean they won't rip like a Ruffle card. Okay, what? How did they get a 1 ring? Did I somehow not see 1 ring in their hand? Just drew 1 ring? Okay, well that sucks. Yeah, I thought the draw for turn was City. I didn't look hard enough at their hand. Yeah, I don't know if we can catch up now. Like, it's so frustrating. Okay, so they have protection. We can't do anything. I guess we just chill for a turn cycle. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find... Like, I can end step Brainstorm or Emergency Brainstorm. This is fine. I'm actually going to Brainstorm here. So if this is the best thing they can do this turn, it's actually a good thing for us. I'll just go ahead and grab Island here because I will want that. Yeah, I have Brazen Borrower in my deck. That's like really the only reason. The other option is I could just get Underground Sea here and then I can fetch the island with this. So I am going to Brainstorm here and I am going to put back probably the Thoughtseize. Spellbomb is pretty terrible. Wasteland, also pretty terrible. Like they're they're very likely to draw lands here. It might be more useful than this Trop. Yeah, it's just crazy that I'm not putting back the Thoughtseize, but terrible. This, I will tap and float here because now we just go get the Survey. Wait, we can only get a basic. So all in all, not a horrific turn. They didn't play a land this turn. Okay, there's the land. They did pass through the face, so I can't. They're Sundering Eruptioning our island too. Wow, that's just brutal. This is supposed to be like a throwaway multi-face card, and it's like uniquely good in Moon Stompy. Super frustrating. I'm tilted. I'm very tilted. Because I think our deck is like totally set up to be able to beat decks like this, and it's incredibly frustrating to me. They're still at 19. And now, if they find a Blood Moon, we're just dead. Like, we don't have any more basics on our deck. We're able to kill both of our basics. Sorry, I'm trying not to be pissed off. And even if we get further into hitting them, I mean, we could waste in Thoughtseize here. This land will die, but they're going to draw 3 cards. They're going to be finding plenty of... I should have Thoughtseize first. I don't want them to re-1 ring. Just hold that and later, like, replace. So they have a Fury in hand. Pretty frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. That's like one of the most frustrating games of Magic I've played in a long time. So, Baragwayf is very strong in this matchup. I am going to bring in the second island. That's really what the island is in the Hydroblast and Nile Spell. Deed is... I don't think Deed comes in here. I mean, we could play it out and then... But we could have gotten to 3, but I did opt to waste... Actually, no. The game was basically over by our turn 3. No Rod is probably worth bringing in. Let's talk about what's coming out. The Spell Bombs are definitely coming out. Witherbloom Command's pretty good. Thoughtseize can like punch holes and if they have a bad hand. Brazen Borrower stays in. Yeah, it's hard to make cuts here. We could cut like the bite. Bowmasters is good against the One Ring, so I don't think... I often cut Ponder in this match. A lot of people may take issue with taking out Ponder. I don't want to remove any of the removal. I think it will be relevant. Witherbloom blowing up a Chalice and or a Mox. I don't want to trim any lower on lands. I guess I'll just put one of the... I do think it's better to trim the Thoughtseizes just because they're an aggro deck and because they're a Chalice deck. This is a Null Rod hand and a double force hand. I wouldn't normally keep this. We have a lot of great draws from here. I think Null Rod's going to be important. Murderous Cut is super awkward. We just have to wait around for a land basically. And then we stick Null Rod. Hopefully they do like a Mox. This is kind of like the extreme deck design when you just print like fire design cards. So we could draw an island. I'll probably draw another Murktide later. We're still within like 1 standard deviation. I'm not going to waste that, by the way. So now we need to find an island. A nice last turn. If we find a fetch, we can at least deploy this Null Rod. No, I can't let this hit because then I can't Hydroblast. We can start the beats. I don't usually lose to this deck. I do feel like this is a good matchup. At least stops the One Ring. And we can't really force anything. I am going to get rid of this Magus. Like if I draw a Lorien revealed, or one of my 2 islands, then we can immediately get rid of the Magus and start throwing the Mox at me. I think I have like maybe 2 more turns, depending on what's in their hand. I'm just going to play this out. And then we'll go wild. If they have like a Fury, the game's just over. 2 Spirit tokens into play that have haste, they can throw. I don't think we're going to survive. Like even if we find the Hydroblast. Yeah, if we find Hydroblast. So they're going to throw... Oh, that's lethal. Good game. Not. I was very glad when Frog was printed because it just avoid these decks, and frankly I think these decks need a deck like that. All right, I'm tilting off. Let's try to get the 4-1 here. For the previous round, I would not fault anyone for saying, oh, it was just a bad keep. You didn't draw the lands and you shouldn't have kept that hand. I'm just going to defend myself. It was double force, double blue card hand that already had 1 land. I think that it was a keep. And I think there's a very good chance that had we kept something much weaker than that. We had 22 outs, basically, remaining in our deck, I think. At least 21 outs. All right, so let's clear our head. See how we can do in this final round. Our opponent is a fan of mono black mid-range, which is very much favored against us, I should add. They've got like hymns. They've got lots of nasty stuff. Wait, they may not be on this deck, but basically against this matchup, you just don't mull. This hand's fine. I like the Nala Spellbomb. It's probably okay, like for keeping the wave size in check and stuff. There's the black. There's the Dark Ritual that we feared. There's the hymn that I feared. Notably not in this list we were looking at, but they decided to add it. So we lost our fetch. There's a Stalactite Stalker. So if they have a Wasteland, we're in a really bad way because, oh, actually we're not that bad. So I'm going to go ahead and just ponder here. And what am I looking for? Removal. Bowmaster I don't think is good enough. Yeah, I don't want these other random. Okay, Borrower is probably okay. Fantastic, but it can like bounce that back to their hand during combat and get us some additional. They're attacking here. They are maybe just holding up Bowmaster. It's looking like that's what they're doing. So I think the best option is just to... We do want to draw through the Nile Spellbomb. What I think I'm going to do, and this is pretty lame, I'm just going to wait for them to cast the Bowmasters at the end. Okay, they didn't have it. Interesting. Well, if they tap out, then I'll start brainstorming. But I'm not going to do... Actually, it may make sense to just brainstorm this out of the way. Or Bowmaster it out of the way. I think I'm going to do that. And then if they do have the Bowmaster come out, like they may just replay that. They do have a land drop and it's a Wasteland. So now we're wasted off our removal color. Again, like this is expected. We were on the draw. And they're on like a very aggressive deck. Him does turn 1. We're doing our best here. I'm going to go ahead and brainstorm while it's safe. Okay. Witherbloom Command, Bowmasters. Unfortunately, neither of these help. Wasteland goes back for sure. Spellbomb. I mean, they draw like a Baragoi first thing. It's pretty... I think I'm going to go like that. I'm just going to play this out. I am just the other card in their deck. So we still have the brainstorm that we want to get rid of. There's the 3 mana. That cannot be interacted with, unfortunately. Like basically we can Bowmaster and then we can double block. They might have a Fatal Push or something. I'm trying to figure out how we win this. They've got a lot of pressure on the table. Murktide would do a lot. Okay, Murktide. So I guess the question is, can we race with Murktide? I don't think we can. They're attacking for 7, 14 life. We can make it a 7-7, but they will win the race. If we have one more mana, we would be able to Witherbloom and Bowmaster. I think I'm going to go ahead and brainstorm just to see if I can find a Fatal Push for this. Okay, Shieldred's Edict's not the worst. I could just mill stuff into the Void. So I think what I need to do here, I play this. Oh, I could have, hit that and... Yeah, we're going to just draw the Bowmaster. We're not going to actually draw... Had I kept the Wasteland in hand and put the I could have next turn pinged and if they still have some other big play, I might have to just force it. Bowmaster can potentially kill one of these. Oh no, I punted because now they're going to descend here if they sack. I'm going to go and do this now. Yeah, so they can sack that, then they can descend. Currently, do I have anything in the Void? I just have a land. Okay, they just sacked that creature. That's good. I think if I let them take the Merc, that does go into the Void, but it's not like they can make it big. Use Witherbloom to get back a Wasteland, but that does take the Douthie off the table. Yeah, I think I'm going to let that resolve. And if they want to hold this up for a long time, that's fine. I am going to eventually draw into answers to it. I don't think they have any intention of deploying it. So we draw a Bowmaster here. Sadly, I think we just have to wait for combat and then we block. And if they have their own Merc, it's devastating. We also have the option of deploying this. Just have to kill this creature. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. So, yeah, we're dead. That goes into the Void where they can take 6. I'm going to concede. Okay. Let's hope that this next game is not as bad. But this is probably like a 30-70 matchup. And I've recorded a lot of videos with my opponent's deck. I've recorded a double league, powerful deck. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's extremely strong against blue, fair, mid-range decks like ours. So I'm not going to bring in an island. They just have the traditional stuff that disrupts. I think Deed actually might be worth bringing it in because that would have been a great draw. Now Spell Bombs can come in. Thoughtseize. Still got all our removal in. We could take out a Wasteland. And we could definitely take out Wasteland and bring in the island because there is basically one land in their entire deck. I think Borrower is good. If they bring in Leyline of the Void, it's really good against us. I think we don't need all 3 now Spellbomb. Also, now Spellbomb is kind of bad against them. Actually, I'm kind of off now. The reason is, I'll have these 2 in, but if they have a Leyline or if they have a Douthie, you don't get the card for it, which we could bring in a Force Negation, but I don't think that's... Yeah, I guess I'll bring in we can still hit their graveyard if they're Netherglyph 0-1s for a while if we need to. This hand's fine. This is basically the best kind of hand you can get against. Has Path of Basic Lands, so you're not just for Wastelands. I am going to go ahead and just fetch immediately. And if they want to waste that, that's fine. They're fetching. Do they have another Explosive Dark Ritual hand? They do! Thoughtseize. Okay, they're probably going to take the Shieldred's Edict or one of the Bowmasters. Edict is probably the most likely candidate. There's their Bowmaster. So the good news is we will have Bowmaster superiority, but the bad news is it doesn't freaking matter because they don't draw cards. Bowmaster is just like a asymmetric threat, basically. It's really good against us. I am going to go ahead and just fetch a Swamp here. They shouldn't be surprised that they don't have any stack interaction. Or Bowmaster. I don't think they have any Reanimate type things in their deck. Reanimate's really good against us. Okay, they only have one. I am going to go ahead and just block here. If they want a Dark Ritual and do another Bowmaster, which is fine. We're going to have the bigger creature here. I think I just go ahead and Lorien Revealed and then Merc. This will result in a creature that is in what they're able to do. Let's grab this island. I just don't want to be wasted off of a color. I can always get, actually if I get a Trop, then they do have cards in their deck that can kill. They may have a Shieldred's Edict, but that can't actually kill this. A good example of Lorien Revealed being better than, so we can't attack, but we can start attacking next turn. And in which case I just Spellbomb their graveyard and they don't have, but they have, Fell the Profane in their deck, I imagine. They probably have 4 of those. Baraglyph is fine. They don't have an attack. This is pretty mean, but this is how you... So we're going to go ahead and do this. Then I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Yeah, that sucks. And then when they attack, they are going to gain some life. They may be able to fill up their graveyard pretty quickly, unless they have exactly Fell the Profane. If they do, then we're going to keep going. They'll gain some life. I don't want to get them any... And then I can attack for not doing this. Yeah, if they have a Bowmaster, it's pretty devastating. Because they could hit both of our Bowmasters. Could they win that race if they do that? Yeah, I'm going to do it before combat. And you could say, oh, you would have just won if you didn't play this. That's not necessarily the case. They would have cleared these things at the end. So if yeah, they're going to get a ping.
Another spell bomb. So I could hit my own graveyard. It's not going to make Merc. I can reduce the size of... I'm going to go ahead and attack. So I hit their graveyard, and then Beargorf saves it as a 2/3. They will gain enough life to be able to attack again. I could still fell the Profane. There's the Edict. That sucks really badly. I might be able to draw a blue card here. I am going to make their creature bigger. Okay, there's a Merc. And so I'm going to go ahead and trigger another draw on the stack. Get to draw a card. They get another trigger. Got a pretty big, substantial army over there. They are going to gain some life here. I think we're going to lose. We have a Ponder in our hand, which is not particularly good, but it could find... Gosh, what could we even find at this point? They get to bin 3 things. They find a Oppo. Yeah. There's another Beanstalk. So technically playing up the Beanstalk first gives us 5 looks for a Fatal Push. But we don't have an Underground Sea, so we can't hope. And we actually need... So I think that's what we do, is we have to double cantrip and then Murderous Cut or Fatal Push. Murderous Cut or a Bowmaster would also buy us a chump. See, Bowmaster could ping here and block here, and then they attack there. We have to chump there. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to work. We're not going to cast the Beanstalk. It's too... Okay. Unfortunately, we drain him of 2 life. Oh, that actually works. That actually works. Okay. Let's take the Witherbloom command. If they get a ping in, it doesn't matter. The game's over. Good game. Wow. That was lucky. That was super close. Okay, let's see if we can get to the final one. We have to win on the draw again. Yeah, that's going to be hard. And it's easy to see how, like, not casting the Beanstalk there and not doing all those things, like, maybe that would have been a better outcome where we didn't have to depend on the top of our deck to find. But I'm pretty sure they would have been able to build up enough pressure. But we would have had 2 block. Well, no, we wouldn't have had 2 blockers because we would have basically... We attack in, we do 7 damage. They chump, or we have a chumper pinging us anyway. And yeah, it's hard to tell. There's an argument for taking Beanstalk out, but I don't really have anything to bring in. Spell bombs were okay there. They weren't bad. I think I'm just going to run it back. This hand is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's off to Wasteland. They don't have any selection in their deck. It's not like they can... It's not like you're playing against Delver. Okay, non-Dark Ritual start. That's good for us. They didn't even play a creature. I'm going to go ahead and just parts. I don't want the Brainstorm. I do want the Shieldred's Edict in the land. I'll keep the Shieldred's Edict on top. So we're not going to play on basics this game. We don't have that luxury. We just have to hope they don't have a multi-Wasteland hand. Fetch Surveil. We're just trying to fill up the graveyard and get a giant Merc out. I'll force Bowmasters. I probably won't... Will I force... I think I have to force Douthie too. Yeah, this is scary. We force Douthie. Because Douthie makes the rest of our plays really awkward. Oh, you know what? I could have just freaking pushed Douthie. But, like, I would have... Yeah, I'm going to push the Bowmaster. So this turn, I think I can just push and the Spellbomb out. And I'll just grab a Bayou, most likely. I could grab an Underground Sea. I don't need... So I will play this out, and I'll just pass. We don't really have the luxury of doing that. Because they could have Oppo Agent. And just Spellbomb and then Surveil. And that does put a type in the yard. That's more important than Spellbomb. We can only Spellbomb later. It's not like they're going to use their graveyard for like a Merc. So we can reactively do it. All right, I am just going to... It doesn't immediately affect us negative. Play a Beargorf afterward. I'll be pretty embarrassed. But we do have Edict. I would like to preserve this life. There's a Douthie. I am going to go ahead and just crack this. If we've got a big Merc next turn, hitting them with it, and then we can Edict later. I'll see what we draw. Okay, that's in. But heaven forbid they have something catastrophically good. And now we can go ahead and fetch. I'll just get another Underground Sea, I guess. I am a little bit worried that they have like a Helm. I think they probably would have done it by now. But it's possible that they were Douthing first because they wanted to Helm me afterward. Thoughtseize is pretty bad for us. I'm not going to force it. We have 3 more Mercs that we're drawing to. They're screwed on land. We could, because again, I think most of the removal is in the form of Fell the Profane. So we can put something. I do want to play around. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hit their yard and just see what I draw. Wasteland is great, and now we just waste their land. I think that's pretty good for us. They haven't played a land in like 2 turns. They might just naturally draw 1. This is like an argument for putting Wasteland in your control decks, by the way. Like, we don't have any days. We don't have any spell pierce. We don't do anything other than use Wasteland, and there are opportunities where it's... So what I'm going to do, it makes sense to go ahead and put in the yard. I'm just afraid that they have the Dark Ritual. I'm tempted to just bounce this out of play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just put the, I'm going to put the Pawner on top. Here's a Dark Rit. Okay, fine. I'm going to let this happen. They're going to play the Oppo, and then I'm just going to bounce it out of play. And then it'll be stuck in their hand again. Kids screaming in the background. They're getting into fights. All right, my kids got into some sort of... So I'm going to put the Pawner on top. We'll take the 1 damage here. They did use a Dark Ritual there. We do have this as a threat. It's just... It will technically beat them if the game goes long enough, but... Oh, I think... I mean, Murderous Cut. We have plenty of cards in our graveyard. I think it's just Murderous Cut. I'll hold it up, and then Witherbloom is also pretty good. I could brainstorm and put away this Force, but I think I'm going to leave it exactly like it. No, I'll put the cut in hand, and then I can just cut and draw a card. And then if they just attack with this and don't do anything, I can play. If they have a non-basic, then I'll know to grab Wasteland with Witherbloom. We've got 5 minutes and 28 seconds on the clock, but I think I'm just hoping they don't find more land. Okay, they're going to combat. I'm not going to cut here. I'm going to hold it. We could just cut, and then we draw the Witherbloom, and then I don't really want to use Witherbloom that way. I have cut up. We don't. We do find a lot. Bowmasters is probably the best thing they can do if they find a land, and we'll still be able to. Incredible. You never been mana screwed before? Try playing Brainstorm and Ponder. I mean that in jest. I played their, should be on the channel maybe before this. They're dead on board. It's fine. He's an 0-1. All right, that's a 4-1. Everything felt great except for that freaking Moon Stompy. And I think our build is better qualified to beat Moon Stompy than the ones that go into like Uro. Like I really designed my mana base to be super robust. And that Moon Stompy loss was very frustrating. But just keep in mind, like there are no 100-0 matchups. Like even though I think we're like 60-40 against Moon Stompy probably, you are going to sometimes just lose. I probably would keep that hand that I got like... Obviously, like the deck's shuffled and I'm not drawing the exact same cards. I think we had a very high likelihood of drawing a fetch or a Lorien Revealed. Again, I think we'd boarded out 1 Wasteland. So 21 sources. So I'm just going to go through so 22 cards. We boarded out a Wasteland. We have a Wasteland in play. So that's 20 draws out of like 58 cards. So we were fairly likely to draw. I mean, really any of these cards other than this other Wasteland would have been relevant. So, or Mystic Sanctuary would have been slow, but it's still, and then we could have got our stuff going, and Double Force is pretty good because a lot of times Moon Stompy's hand will be a bunch of Moxen and like 1 thing to do or 2 things to do, but we had 2 things to do covered. So I don't think it was super risky. I think it was a fine keep, but leave a comment with a timestamp. And of course I don't want result-oriented thinking. I want like fundamentally there's something wrong with my you didn't you thought you draw it out of it and you didn't. Like that stuff's not helpful. Like let's keep it constructive. I don't have thin skin, but I don't want to waste time debating about like, you know, the variance. If the numbers are on my side, then I'm happy. But if I'm fundamentally misunderstanding the matchup after playing against Moon Stompy like maybe more than 100 times, 200 times, that would be a huge unlock if somebody can tell me. Okay, so the deck is great. I'm going to leave it there. I don't really have anything to say. One thing that, like, you could put a Tomio in here, but I didn't miss her at all, frankly. And it may be that I just didn't miss her because she didn't come up, so I wasn't thinking about her, but she actually would have been really good in some matches. I'm not sure. We didn't encounter any of the matchups that I was hoping to slay. Like, I think this matchup is, like we're really good main deck against both Oops All spells. About as good at main deck as thanks to having the double main deck Nile spell bombs and the additional ones and the 3 Force of Negation. That's a lot of ability to protect your win card. We didn't ever board in a carpet. We didn't go up against Delver or Blue-Black Tempo. Jeskai we beat, was it 2 Beanstalk decks in a row or something like that? Like one of them was the 4-color Beanstalk, yeah. But we had some really fun matches, and I really strongly recommend playing Beanstalk. I think this is fixed. Let me show you. It is showing the numbers for everything now. So this is the list, and I love it, and I hope you go out and bean some people as well. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.